Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Just allow a couple of more minutes for people to join, and then we would get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Anu, and I'll be your facilitator for today's session. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items to note. Feel free to adjust the size of the presentation box on your console by expanding the corners of the box. If at any time throughout the presentation you're experiencing connection issue, please try refreshing the console by pressing the F5 button if you're a PC user, or Command R for the Mac users. If the problem persists, please try closing the event window and then relaunch the event. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please submit them in the Q&A box, and we will have a live Q&A session at the end. Finally, this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be shared with you later. Without further ado, I would like to hand over the time to Tanuj, the founder of 18 Digitech, to introduce our guest speaker and take us through the webinar today. Over to you, Tanuj.
Thank you, Anu. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the sixth and the final episode of our webinar series, The Key to Mastering E-Commerce in 2022 and Beyond. Today's episode focuses on the importance and benefits of review and user-generated content and how it can impact your bottom line. User-generated content, also commonly known as UGC, includes reviews, question and answers, photos, and videos, and help drive sales and growth for brands and retailers. I'm joined today by two seasoned e-commerce professionals with a lot of experience in this field. My first guest today is Rad, Head of Partnership with Yotpo. Rad is an exceptional communicator, relationship builder, and influencer in B2B and B2C sectors, drawing from extensive experience building and leading high-performance teams. Outside of his work, Rad is also the founder of In It Together mental health forums. My second guest is Bruce Reed, e-commerce manager for Linen House. Bruce has over 12 years of experience working for both digital marketing agencies as well as online retailers. Bruce really relies on key partnerships with trusted third-party vendors to execute strategy and do some heavy lifting to help keep the e-commerce team at Linen House lean. He believes in focusing on his team's core strengths and outsourcing to specialists where possible. Welcome, Bruce and Rad. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Rad, I understand that you have created a short presentation on reviews and UGC. Let's start with your presentation before we get into the reviews and user-generated content and how they can help our merchants.
It sounds good. Yeah, again, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm super excited to be having a conversation with yourself, and also Bruce. Lynn in the house is obviously a long-time customer with us, so excited to take you through a couple of slides just to, I guess, show the importance of reviews, which I'll go into now. So just a little bit about Yotpo. So if anyone doesn't know who Yotpo is, we are an e-commerce marketing platform. I guess the differences between us and anyone else out in the market is that synergy of all our products being able to communicate with each other. So we do ratings and reviews, we do visual marketing, we do loyalty and referrals, and SMS marketing. We've recently raised over 400 million in funding. And just opened up our Australian office about 10 months ago, which we're really excited about. As we all know, COVID happened almost, 2 years ago now. And, you know, the reflection of COVID has pushed a lot of first-time buyers to buy online. And you can see here by the stats, you know, the rise of people saying that the influence of reviews online have really influenced their decisions. And this is still going to be, you know, a huge number, even when now that stores are opening up, that people will be looking at online reviews, especially for those high purchase items, and still going in store to influence their purchasing, I guess, behaviors as well. So being able to actually have, you know, that content online, you know, is also going to help influence your buyers in store as well, because generally people are going to be looking for that content online to influence that decision. Very, very high numbers. But not reviews are all equal. I think this is something, you know, my background, I've been in this space for a very long time now. And, you know, shoppers are getting a lot smarter with the content that is online. So it's not just being able to provide content on your website, but it's like, how is that content helping them engage with the reviews, the visual marketing, and what channels are you using to display these reviews? So being able to look at all your marketing channels and making sure that those reviews are actually displays more effectively on all your sites against all your marketing channels as well. So not just on site as well. One of the key differences around Yotpo's review strategy are 3 areas. The way that we actually collect reviews is really, really important. It's not just about collecting reviews, it's about the content that you're collecting. Is there friction in the way that you're collecting the reviews? So making sure that you're not leading people off to a landing page, making sure that people are leading through a mobile first review invitation, and that they're not filling in information that they don't need to, so making it really frictionless. So the good thing about Yotpo's invitations is it's all done straight from the email. You're not taking them off to a landing page, and you're able to collect, you know, videos, photos, all from the same application that you're sending. Number 2 is the content display. So it's not just about displaying it on your site, but are you displaying it in the right areas? Is it really easy for them to find the information that they really need so they're not going to a competitor? And then also the content distribution as well. So making sure, like I mentioned before, that all your marketing channels are displaying those reviews where people are most likely going to purchase. One of the things is what I mentioned previously is the right content at the right time where people are going to purchase. You can see here some stats here. Shoppers who interact with smart filters and review widget have a 38% higher purchase rate than people that don't. What that means is displaying your product reviews on your site, just having the review itself isn't enough anymore. What this means is, you know, making it easy for your customers to be able to find the content really easy. So having smart filters, having filters that breaks down, you know, for example, you can see here a face cream, you know, being able to look at your age brackets, or, you know, do you have dry or oily skin, having a free search bar, that kind of stuff is making it really easy for your consumers to have a really good user experience and find the content that's relevant to them really, really quickly, so they're not going off to a competitor to find that information. So making that really easy for them to find what they actually are looking for. The other thing is about discovery. So visual marketing is becoming very, very popular with brands, especially if you look at Gen Z. That people like to see how it looks on people, how it interacts, before and after shots. So being able to have shoppable galleries is becoming very popular for e-commerce brands. It has a very high conversion rate as well. So being able to display both the product reviews, but also the visual marketing tool as well, is going to help obviously boost those conversions as well. You can see here shoppers who can see photos and videos have 137% higher rate to purchase. So again, it's very, very powerful to be able to use both the product review and visual marketing aspect as well. Another cool thing that we just launched on Friday is our new syndication with Facebook and Instagram shops. So being able to pull all your reviews that you have currently on your Yotpo website through to Facebook and Instagram as well. So again, being able to use different channels and making sure that that syndication is pulling through is super powerful. That's all the presentation, and yeah, looking forward to having the Q&A with Bruce, one of our long-term customers, and Tanuj, one of our long-term partners as well.
Thank you, Raj. That was very insightful, and I think the quick overview you provided gives us an insight on how Yotpo works and what are the what are the features that are available. So, Bruce, if I may start with you, Raj in his presentation highlighted that reviews are no longer a nice to have. Instead, they are a must. So, in your experience as a long-term customer of Yotpo, how important are reviews to Linen House?
Yeah, they're very important, and for a number of reasons as well. So obviously, they're a great form of social proof. Also, it's a very authentic and organic way that reviews are able to promote features of products that might not be clear in product descriptions or in product photography. But beyond just promoting those features of products, many of the reviews we receive, they also talk to other conversion factors, like when customers rave about shipping or the customer service that they experienced. And so then that just further instills confidence in new customers. And obviously, these benefits come across more naturally, they come across authentically when it's in the form of a customer review. So to prospective customers, they're just that much more likely to trust that sort of information. And then I think also the feedback that we're constantly receiving from customers, which we're able to then filter through to the rest of the business. So we're able to pass on insights to our product team, to our logistics and warehouse, to our graphics and our photography, and then obviously to the e-commerce team as well. We get valuable feedback on some of the most important touch points along very common customer journeys. So they certainly are very important to have.
Oh, perfect. So you've already touched on it a little bit, but obviously I've noticed that being the developers for Linen House, that most of the products have reviews from your customers. What have Linen House learned from this customer feedback? Has it helped you change any of your business processes or the way you provide customer service? I guess what I'm trying to understand is if it has helped Linen House improve as a business altogether.
Yeah, so look, I've often heard retailers talk about how reviews can bring to light product defects or problems with the shopper's journey. And while I think this is true, and it is something that we do look for, the thing that sort of stands out most clearly at Linen House is when customers repeatedly refer to a particular aspect of their shopping experience that delighted them and then earned us that 5-star review. So for example, we've noticed a clear thread through many of our reviews where customers, after reviewing a product, they'll comment on how fast shipping was, or something else we're commonly seeing is customers talking about how accurately the photography on web matched the product that they actually received. And so when we pass that information on to the departments that are responsible for these great results, that's just it's a very positive and encouraging feedback to receive, which is a strong motivational factor, not only to maintain those standards, but to also improve upon those standards. And I think, our warehouse is a great example of a team who've taken on board all that positive impact, and they've just doubled down their efforts, and they're just getting some phenomenal results, dispatching orders really, really quickly, which is certainly delighting customers.
So, we can say that, the motivation, staff has been motivated by the appreciation that they have received through these reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So, right, if I may bring you in here, and we have seen a lot of our customers benefit from reviews in the areas of returns they see from their paid advertising and SEO in terms of better click-through rate and even conversions. Can you elaborate on how reviews impact SEO and PPC performance further?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing is to, if you are going to be looking at a review solution, is to make sure that they are a certified Google partner. What that means is you get extra benefits by collecting reviews from a certified Google partner like Yotpo. One of the things that we can do is get you Google seller ratings underneath your AdWords. Obviously, having the gold stars underneath your AdWords builds credibility. It helps with your click-through rate as well. One of the Google stats is it will boost that up to 17%. Your Google shopping ads as well, pulling through rich snippet stars in your organic search as well. Even having a dedicated review page will start getting you ranked in Google as well. And it's not just what's Google pulling through. You got to remember that Google's going to crawl through your content as well. So it's something that I was talking about before, is making sure that when you are sending out a review request, that you are collecting quality content, because Google will crawl that into Google. So it's not just those kind of SEO benefits, but it's that whole Google experience. So I think I do see a lot of platforms out there not being Google partners, and they are missing out on those benefits of SEO, Google Shopping, your Google seller raters. So that's definitely one of the things that I would definitely highlight.
And I guess the constantly new content being generated helps you with SEO as well, even if you don't don't look at it from that perspective, but Google also likes new content being generated on a particular page, and indexes it more and gives it better value.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, relevant content, Google's always making these updates, and I think 6 months ago they said that they will favor product reviews that have relevant content and fresh content. So again, it's really important that you're asking your customers the right questions, that you're asking custom questions on specific products, not just asking your simple "do you like the product," but trying to get more information from your customers is obviously key, because again, it's going to get crawled into Google.
So Bruce, how important has it been for Linen House to have those reviews and customer reviews and ratings pulled into Google Shopping?
Yeah, it's pretty important. Competition online has just rapidly increased over the last, nearly 24 months now. And so there's so many retailers who are, really invested in that bidding war for those top category keywords. So this has long been a difficult space for us to win in. And then especially because as a wholesale first business, we don't compete on price. So, we allow sort of our retail customers, they get, an opportunity to sell through product. And once they've sold through their stock, then we often find ourselves promoting sort of end of line ranges. And at that stage, we're in a space that's just so heavily discounted. So it's really important for us to find other ways to kind of stand out, and for those ads to stand out. And especially when it comes to shopping ads, I mean, how much more can you stand out when there's very similar looking, products in those small little thumbnails? So we've just found that a really effective way has been having those stars on our ads. And, as Rad said, just getting so much better click-through rates as a result. So it's been very important for us to have that in place.
Okay. So as a follow-up to that, obviously you have been using Yotpo reviews for a while, but if you can share with us what changes or improvements did you notice in the returns from your advertising after implementing Yotpo reviews?
Sure. Well, I mean, the biggest change that we've noticed since introducing reviews has been a significant lift to our ROAS, our return on ad spend. And it makes sense to me that a rating on a product ad would impact the click-through, but interestingly, the conversion rate has been that much higher as well. And look, I mean, my guess is that customers who are compelled to click on ads based on ratings that they see on those ads, possibly they're also more inclined to convert because that's the type of customer that knows what they want, and so they're further down that funnel, that shopping funnel. So we have an agreement with our search agency that ROAS can never drop below a certain point. This is calculated based on GP and shipping costs and a few other things. But what's been so positive for us, as a very positive experience since adding reviews to our ads, is that we've been able to significantly increase our ad spend, and we're still achieving results well above that break-even point. So we've definitely seen some very, very positive gains in that space as a result of having those ratings on.
And I would assume that, the conversion rate, would probably have improved for not just returning customers, because, most of your loyal customers would already know the business and they would have experienced it before. But, your new visitors to your website, one-time shoppers and all that, they would, the reviews would have helped them greatly in terms of, establishing that trust with the business and, parting away with their money.
I definitely think that's a factor. I think of the fact that, if you look at all the different channels that we operate in, search, and especially our paid search, because our paid search is non-brand, so it's sort of generic keywords, generic long-tail keywords. Those customers, the majority of those customers are new customers. So we're introducing our brand to them for the first time. And I think that's where UGC is a critical factor. It really gives you that opportunity to show someone who's just first been introduced to your brand that, hey, we're a trustworthy brand, and we've got lots of customers who are very happy with the experience of shopping with us and receiving their products, and they're very happy with those products. So it's just super important to have that there for those new customers.
Perfect. So, Rad, my next question to you is an extension of my last question to you, and also from your present PowerPoint presentation where you talked about product discovery and how it can help the merchant's bottom line. Can you please elaborate more on how do reviews and UGC can help with product discovery?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I think, Aussies are we don't have a lot of patience when it comes to finding information really quickly. So, Bruce was saying, it's such a competitive market, especially where Linen House is in as well. Like, there are cheaper options. There's so many different brands out there now. It's just the word pivot. Everyone's been pivoting online. So if consumers can't find what they want really quickly, then they will go somewhere where they can. And what that means is, one thing that I love about Linen House is they have a free search bar. So, there's stats that, consumers won't go to the second page of a review page. They generally will look at the first page. If they can't find what they want on that first page, then they will go somewhere else that they can. And what Linen House has actually put in is a search bar where they can search keywords with all the reviews, so they can find the quick keyword that they're looking for, because every user is going to have a different reason why they come into your website. And if you think about a business that has hundreds of product reviews, you need to make sure that they can find what they want really, really quickly, so they can purchase off you straight away. And that's done through, search bars, having the highest rating products, having, visual marketing on there. People want to see what it looks like. And again, it's not just online, it's, Linen House have stores as well. So, I could be looking online and going, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. So when I go into the store, I can go in and straight away buy it. I probably would just want to look and feel at it, but everything else is ticked off those boxes. So you need to have information that can be found really, really quickly to make sure that they're not bouncing off to another website.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So, look, there are quite a few review platforms out there, right? And for audience looking to integrate a solid review platform in their business, what would be some of the attributes that they should be looking for? How do they know which platform will work for their business?
Yeah, I think one of the key things I said before, making sure that they are a certified Google partner. There's a lot of changes happening now with cookies being phased out. So having those extra benefits is something that I would definitely be looking for. The other thing that I'll be looking for is what kind of synergy, how are you using that review data in other segments of your business? Are you going to have a loyalty program? Do you have a loyalty program? Can you use that review data into your loyalty program? Are you going to be doing SMS marketing? Can you, again, use that, user-generated content and review data and loyalty data into your SMS? So looking at, what kind of platform and what kind of products it has. What's your roadmap as well? Like maybe, in 6 months' time, you are going to have a loyalty program. So how's that going to integrate? The other thing is integrations. What's your tech stack? Are you using .digital as your email provider? How does that integrate into the rest of your tech stack? One of the things that I find really surprising is a lot of people don't do research, and then they need an agency to build in an API integration into their tech, or they can't read the information from reviews or loyalty. So really looking at your tech stack and going, all right, what integrates? And when I say integrate, I mean a native integration, because a lot of people say, yes, we integrate, but then you need an API integration, and then that means dev work, that means more money. So really looking at your tech stack and going, all right, what's our roadmap? How does our tech stack integrate with what we're looking for? And is this going to cost us a lot more money in the long run, or is this going to save us money in the short term? So really having a deep dive and having really robust integrations with the provider you are looking at, and seeing if that's going to fit into your timeline.
Great. One thing that we have liked about Yotpo ourselves as a developers is the number of integrations that are available with Yotpo, and how easy it is to integrate it with most of the platforms or tech stack we work on.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, I think one of the reasons why we work with 18th Digitech is because you understand the Yotpo platform. A lot of agencies don't understand the tech, so again, that could cost you time. It could cost your timelines. I know, KPIs and timelines and launch dates are very, very key for businesses. I hear horror stories all the time where they've missed deadlines or they haven't launched something because the dev agency doesn't understand the platform. But also looking at the credibility, Yotpo is very proud to be a Magento Premier partner. There's only 10 in the App Exchange, and we are one of those 10. So again, it builds that credibility that if you do have that certification and you are a premium or platinum partner, that then the business has done a lot of research, Magento has done a lot of research on Yotpo to give that accreditation as well. So that's super key as well, to have a look at what the actual platforms are saying about the providers as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Bruce, when Linen House was looking at implementing the implementing a review platform, what issues, what items did you look at? What attributes did you focus on before you decided in Yotpo's favor?
Yeah, it's a good question, Tanuj. I feel like Rad's kind of already answered the question for me. You know, what Rad was saying is precisely how we went about it. So, but look, if I give you a bit of background, some years ago in a previous role for another retailer, we were partnered with one of Yotpo's competitors here in Australia. And while they offer some comparable features, and I think, you know, there are a couple of them out there in the market, and there's some comparable features just from the ratings and reviews point of view. That's, you know, if we're only talking about that. But when it came time for Linen House to introduce a UGC solution, we did our due diligence, and Yotpo was a standout in a number of different ways. And so this is where I'm going to start sounding like I'm just repeating what Rad said. You know, they've got the great features, being a global leader in the space as well. You know, we knew we could trust that they were going to be around and that they had all the support systems in place as well. But the main factor was the ease of integration with third-party solutions, you know, that are important to our online business. So, you know, I can give a quick example, and Rad did mention a couple of them as well. So obviously, .digital is, you know, we're Magento.digital. So Yotpo's, you know, seamlessly plugs into those very nicely. We're also just about to start the integration with you guys, in fact, with Search Spring. You know, and being able to have ratings talk nicely with your search, as well as include them in, you know, as filterable attributes or as sort options in the category. This is all, you know, hugely beneficial. And with Yotpo, we don't need to worry about very costly and time-consuming dev work to make that happen. You know, they've already done all the heavy lifting. So the technologies, they just, you know, they integrate very nicely and they talk to each other. So that was the main factor for us.
Perfect. That sounds good. And so I guess my next question is for you, both you and Rad and Bruce, is that, like, you know, maybe I'll start with Rad. What advice can you give a business that's looking to implement reviews?
Yeah, do your research. I think that's definitely one thing, regardless if you're going to, you know, be coming on board with Yotpo or another provider, is do your research. I think I'm so surprised to see so many businesses not having product reviews. It's just mind-blowing. Like, I just feel like when I'm personally shopping on a website and I don't see any product reviews, I will not buy from that site, because the risk of me not purchasing the product I actually need is very, very high. I can't remember, the ones I have, I've returned pretty much every single product that I bought, because there just wasn't enough information for me to find. So definitely start somewhere. And just speak to experts. I mean, you know, if you are going to, you know, feel free to reach out to me if you want to speak to me in regards to, regardless if you're going to choose Yotpo or not, you know, speak to people that can give you advice and actually give you the framework to start implementing. And the other thing is as well is don't be afraid of negative reviews. I think that's the first thing that businesses tell me. They're like, oh, I'm so scared we're going to get negative reviews. You'll be surprised that 80% of people will give you a positive review. But those negative reviews are the nuggets you are looking for. They're going to help with, you know, issues that you're not even aware of, because if you're not asking your customers for information, then you're not going to know. You're going to sit there and think, oh yeah, everything's great. But your customers are going to tell you what you can improve on. And I think like that's where the gold is those negative reviews will help your business change processes, change products, manufacturing, you know, you name it. They're going to give you that information around what you should be improving. And that's a positive, 100% positive. So don't be afraid to do that, because like I said, you'll be surprised at what your customers will tell you.
Look, like, you know, we do a lot of reputation management work, as online reputation management work as well. And what I always tell my customers is that, you know, use those negative reviews, respond to those negative reviews, because your customers, they don't only want to see how great or how good your product is, but if they see that, you know, if there's a problem, how you have solved that problem and responded to that problem also gives them a lot of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, that, yeah, definitely. I think, you know, No, I was just saying one of the things that I was looking at during our lockdown is how a business responds if something goes wrong. Like, are they going to be responsive? Are they going to, pick up my phone calls? Are they going to email me back? And, businesses that did respond to a negative review, I still purchased from them because I had that confidence. So you're spot on.
Okay. Bruce, is there anything you would like to add here?
Yeah, look, I'd say the advice I would give anyone who's considering reviews is just don't wait. We've been talking about the fact that there's been this rapid adoption of online retail over the last months and nearly 2 years. And so we're no longer speaking to digital natives who are comfortable doing their own research. The shoppers who are online today are every age group, all kinds of backgrounds. And so the critical factors for them are obviously speed of delivery, the ease of returns, and then very importantly are some form of social proof. And I think especially for those customers that we were just mentioning there a moment ago who are just the first time online, or they may be just getting to know your business as well. And what better way to offer social proof than through hundreds of great reviews. So definitely don't hesitate. Just jump in as soon as you can. And I agree, don't be afraid of negative reviews. You can learn a lot from them. And generally, we've found, customers are fair as well. So they don't just go off on a rant. You will get those occasionally. But most of the time, if a customer's got something negative to say, they're fair about what they're telling you. And so it's not something to be afraid of. And if you respond to those customers in a really helpful way with your customer care team, you often find you'll have someone who's had a bad experience, writes a review and says, hey, this was a negative experience. They end up being a return customer who then has a great lifetime value for you. So, and become, your spokesperson to their friends as well, saying, wow, these guys really looked after me. So.
Sure. No, that's absolutely another experience as a reputation management. Like, someone offering reputation management has been exactly the same. Mm. So we're coming towards the end of the my the end of the webinar, but I've got a couple of more questions left. So Rad, you work with many partners in the industry. How important is it to work with an experienced partner who has worked with the product beforehand?
Very, very important. As I was mentioning before, I think one of the great things about Yotpo just being in the market for the last 10 months is we can be really selective on the partners that we partner. And what that means is, we make sure that there's a credibility behind it. If we're referring our customers to someone, we want to make sure that they're going to be able to do the job. I'm sure anyone listening here's probably had horror stories with agencies promising the world or saying they can deliver these timelines, overcommitting. So for us, it's really key to partner agencies that and partners that have that credibility. So again, like A-Team Digitech is been a credible partner, not just at Yotpo, but in my previous role when I was at Trustpilot. So I already knew that there was that credibility there, and hence why we're working together again. But again, making sure that you are asking people, asking other e-commerce brands, who do they work with, what do they do? You would find that the e-commerce community is pretty good at giving you recommendations and advice. So again, it's really key to make sure that you are working with someone that has a good reputation and isn't going to promise you something that they can't deliver.
Good. Thanks for that. So to my last question, right? We are very close to the busy period, with Black Friday, Cyber Monday around the corner, and Christmas, hard to believe, only 6 weeks away. It seems that the year has just started, and here we are. What advice would you like to give to merchants that they can implement quickly in their business to get the best out of this upcoming holiday season? If you want to start, Bruce.
Yeah, sure. Look, I mean, it's you said it it's already the 16th of November, so I can't believe, we're already right at the end of the year. But if all the surveys are to be believed, we should be expecting an early surge to Christmas shopping this year. With people trying to avoid a late delivery letdown. And so I've already started to see some retailers going out with their messaging for the Cyber Weekend, sneaking in a little early. So my advice would really be to make sure that you communicate your shipping dates clearly across your website, and make sure that none of your customers are disappointed because their parcel didn't make it under the tree.
True, and we have noticed that as well. It's not like in the last last 18 months, delayed deliveries has been common theme, common issues that many merchants have been dealing with, and and are struggling with. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a sensitive point at the moment, and I think there's just so many customers out there as well who are aware of this, and so they're being very careful. So I don't think we can rely on getting those great sales right towards the very end of the year. I think we need to be ready to start pushing some promotions hard now and getting the messaging out now, and also just communicating that with your customers. So we're putting up a last day of shipping that's going to sit directly under our main menu on our website, and that's just going to be up there with a little countdown so that customers are always aware of exactly how much time they have to check out.
Great. And anything would you like to share with our audience, that they can use?
Yeah, I would. My suggestion would be, obviously reviews and ratings, is something that you can implement really quickly, but obviously with Black Friday and, holiday periods coming up now, is SMS marketing that has risen so much. And it's not just spamming people with a text message. It's about having a personalized text message that goes out. Something that you guys mentioned around, delivery and stuff like that. One of the cool things about Yotpo SMS is it's conversational. If someone hasn't received their goods or parcel, you could actually have a conversation via text message, which will feed into Zendesk or Gorgeous. So again, streamlining that process. But I think SMS is on the rise. It is super powerful, especially on those quick sales peak seasons. If you can really personalize that experience and understand the data that you're sending out, SMS is definitely one of the channels to watch for sure.
Good. Yeah. No. Look, I think SMS. We had a session with Klaviyo last week on SMS, and I was actually surprised at the growth of SMS across North America and now in Australia. It's amazing.
It's massive.
We discussed some great, we discussed some great strategies on how SMS can be used effectively by businesses without being too expensive. So that's great.
Look, it's definitely a channel on the rise for sure.
So look, I don't think we have any questions from our audience. So this will bring us to the end of this episode and of the series that we have been running for the last 3 months. But before that, thank you, Bruce and Rad, for sharing your insights into the importance of reviews and user-generated content. I'm confident our audience would find them useful and will be able to implement many of those ideas in their business to grow and improve their bottom line. Following this end of this series, we are also going to release an ebook soon with a lot of useful nuggets from all our partners who have participated in this webinar series. So I'll request my audience to keep an eye out for that. They should receive a link very soon, and I'm pretty confident that it will be very, very helpful. I would like to thank everyone who has participated in this episode and this series, and I'm hoping that they have learned some new ideas that they can implement in their business quickly. All these episodes are available onto where customers registered originally, but we will also be soon uploading them to our YouTube channel and send to the links to our audiences. So please feel free to view those recordings at your convenience. And lastly, thank you everyone for joining us, and hope everyone has a bumper holiday season in 2022. Have a great day and year ahead. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.